Nintendo.
And I'm Sega. This is Console Wars! Give me all your cash. Give me all your jewelry. This is a robbery!
This was the scene today at a Denny's full of terrified patrons.
Huh. I don't remember robbing the Denny's. Do you?
I mean, we did a lot of drinking. After my birthday power hour.
However, at the same time, many other Denny's branches were robbed by the same two perpetrators. This has the authorities baffled. And me too, I don't know who did it.
As a man of science, it's gotta be clones.
Clones? That makes a lot of sense. But who made clones of us?
What's this for again?
Huh? Oh, it's a new government order. Yeah, that's it. If you give blood, then you don't need a real ID. I already have an ID. I'm not getting another one. No. Yep. It's definitely not to make clones of the two of you. Lots and lots of clones. Oh yeah, that makes sense. But what do we do now?
There's only one thing we can do.
Go to the authorities and hope everything works itself out?
No. We need to find them and take care of them ourselves. Like Old Yeller. Anyway, how do we find them?
I got it. What would clones of us be attracted to more than anything?
Beer and video games, of course.
Exactly. And where can you find both of those this weekend?
The New Jersey RetroCon. The old NJRC. It just might work. But how can we be sure?
There's open bar karaoke.
Oh yeah, they'll be there.
But I could definitely use some target practice. But all I want to do is play video games. Is it possible for me to work on target practice and play video games at the same time?
You know how? Lethal Enforcers.
Oh yeah, I used to play that all the time. Well, for the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, but it was better for the Super Nintendo.
Only the penitent man shall pass. I don't understand that. What? That's it? Are we doing this?
Is there a frog named after Mozart? Do you Lithorodactylus Amadeus, or Mozart frog for short? And is it named so for the remarkable resemblance of the wide-band audio spectrogram of the species to the musical notes? Yes.
Best Lethal Enforcers.
Lethal Enforcers is a light gun shooter released for the arcade in 1992. Developed and published by Konami, the game was a critical and commercial success. The success led to not one, but two sequels.
The original game was ported to the Sega CD and the PlayStation. The later port actually included Lethal Enforcers 1 and 2. Today we're looking at the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis versions released in 1993. They are very similar with some notable differences. Which one's better? Let's find out.
Both games have the same overall look.
Both games have the same digitized graphics like the arcade. Digitized photos for the levels, digitized sprites for the enemies, and digitized sprites for the innocent people. For all intents and purposes, all the levels and characters have the same look.
Not everything's the same. My game looks much better.
Just look at the games side by side. The Super Nintendo version is much more crisp, while the Sega game is pixelated. You see this in every level. Sega does look decent, but compared to Super Nintendo, it's lacking.
And do I have to bring up the colors?
No.
I'm gonna.
Dang.
Once again, the colors just pop more on the Super Nintendo. The Sega game is darker and more monochromatic. It looks a bit saturated, like what the Super Nintendo game would look like if you put it through a few cycles in the wash. Bright and colorful on Super Nintendo, or dark and saturated on Sega. The choice is easy. Your game tried, but it just couldn't handle all that goes into being a good-looking arcade port.
Oh, my game can't handle it? Let's talk about what your game's lacking. Character animations.
The characters move much smoother on Sega. They're super jerky on Super Nintendo. Must be that blast processing. You can really see it when this enemy flips. First on Sega, that's pretty smooth. Now on Super Nintendo. Oof, that's rough.
And not only are my animations smoother, my game just has more.
Check out what happens when you shoot an enemy on Sega. You see them fall back for a death animation. Now watch what happens when they get shot on Super Nintendo. They just flash in place. No animations. Every single enemy on Sega has a dying animation. No one has a dying animation on Super Nintendo. Guess your game just couldn't handle it.
My game's fine with the handling. Here's something your game couldn't handle.
Let's start with the driving stages. Both games have stages on a road where you're shooting at a car. The Super Nintendo game can have up to 2 cars at once. The Sega game only has one at a time. Guess your game just couldn't handle it. Also in these levels, you see the drivers ducking down to avoid getting shot. On Super Nintendo, you see the driver eventually get up. On Sega, you see the driver, but he never gets up. Also, watch this helicopter explode on Super Nintendo. The explosions slip out of sight as the helicopter falls below the highway. Now, watch it explode on Sega. The helicopter falls below the highway, and then... random explosions? Alright, interesting choice. And speaking of explosions, check out what happens when a grenade goes off on the Super Nintendo. The screen shakes a little. Now check it out on Sega. No shaking. You also see certain things move, like this train at the end of the stage. It doesn't move on Sega. And for the last nail in the coffin, check out this stage. You see a blinking light on Super Nintendo. No blinking light on Sega. Game over.
Similar at a glance, but Super Nintendo definitely has better graphics.
For looking more crisp, colorful, and brighter, having more cars, explosions that make sense, shaking screens, and much more, best graphics go to Super Nintendo!
There are similarities in our presentation.
Some.
Both games have similar title screens. Before each level starts, you get fun security camera footage with police scanner audio. And there is no ending, but you do get credits for the different characters. And the 2 cops you played as.
The HUDs are also similar. You have the number of lives, your life bar, score, and bullet count.
Pretty basic, but my game's got loads of stuff missing from your game.
The Super Nintendo game has way more screen prompts than Sega. When you run out of bullets on the Super Nintendo, you see reload. On Sega, nothing comes on the screen. On Super Nintendo, you see the words night vision when the lights go out. On Sega, nothing comes on the screen. When you get to the boss on Super Nintendo, you see their life bar. On Sega, nothing comes on the screen. Not to mention, the colors of the Super Nintendo HUD just pop more. Again, Sega game is a little monochromatic.
Your game's missing a lot.
Yep.
You're not worried about that?
Not at all.
Why is that?
Because your game is censored!
Once again, the Super Nintendo game is censored and the Sega game is not. Certain level names were changed on Super Nintendo for being insensitive or risque. On Sega, this level was called the Drug Dealer. On Super Nintendo, it was changed to the Gun Runners. And then there's this level. It's called Chinatown Assault on Sega. On Super Nintendo, it's called Downtown Assault. I guess they didn't want you shooting a bunch of Chinese people, which is a good thing. And sure, they changed the name, but they didn't change the people. And they all kind of look Chinese. Some stereotypically Chinese.
Those guys aren't Chinese. They could be any ethnicity downtown.
Really? Because that's not what you left on my answering machine in 1993.
Oh my god! I think it was an Asian gang or something! I saw someone, he looked Asian, and he was speaking another language! I'm pretty sure it was Asian!
Okay, but some name changes aren't the worst censorship.
Oh, I'm not done yet. Let's talk about blood.
The Sega game has blood. You see it when you get shot or stabbed. On Super Nintendo, no blood at all. It's also probably why you don't see animations after you shoot somebody. Watching them die can be considered too violent. Just check out these dudes on Sega falling to their death after you shoot them. You're not going to see anything like that on Super Nintendo. Check out this boss fight on Sega. When you kill him, he dangles off the train just before he eats it. It's pretty satisfying. On Super Nintendo, he just kinda dies on the spot. Boring. All the boss deaths are more elaborate on Sega. While the Super Nintendo just kinda ends. And let's talk about the innocent people. When they're shot on Super Nintendo, it just says, "Caution." And they're fine. They're walking away. On Sega, when you shoot an innocent person, they die.
Okay, a little more death, but a little more blood. Does that make it that much more fun? Alright, yeah, I heard it as it was leaving my mouth. It does.
There's no question my presentation's better.
For not having censorship with the level names, blood, death animations, and victims, best presentation goes to Sega Genesis.
Both games have music composed by Kenichiro Fukui.
Right, we have all the same songs, but they definitely sound better on Sega.
The drums and bass really pop on the Sega. Super Nintendo sounds tame by comparison. The guitar sounds much more gritty on Sega too. It doesn't have the same kick on Super Nintendo. Sega's the more exciting of the two soundtracks.
Okay, well, music is just part of the sound. Let's not forget the voiceovers.
Sega voiceovers are distorted.
Hijacking at Metro International Airport.
Voiceovers are immensely cleaner on the Super Nintendo.
Unit 5, possible hijacking at Metro International Airport. 211 in progress, 36th Street.
What did they say?
211 in progress, 32nd Street. Stay bank.
Oh, thanks, nice and clean Super Nintendo. Plus, the Super Nintendo uses the voiceovers more frequently than the Sega. Here's 10 seconds of each game.
No! He led. Help me! You missed me! Don't shoot!
So my music is much better.
And my voiceovers are better.
Does this mean
Ty?
Sega has better music.
And Super Nintendo has the better voiceovers.
We have the building surrounded. Come out with your hands up.
Neither game's really missing anything.
And in the chaos of playing the game, you won't really notice the difference.
Best sound is a tie.
And gameplay is similar.
pretty much identical.
Both games play like typical early light gun shooters. Taking up the first-person perspective, all you do is aim and shoot. The game moves for you automatically. You can play 1 or 2 players.
You can play the games with regular controllers, but to really get the most out of it, you need to play with a light gun. But not just any light gun, the Justifier. A gun that only works for Lethal Enforcers. And Lethal Enforcer 2 on Sega. Keep track of those bullets too, because you'll need to manually reload often.
Both games are made up of 5 levels. Each level has a variety of enemies. Most can be taken out with one shot. Every level ends with a boss fight.
You're not just shooting up everything. Sprinkled throughout each level are innocent people. Shooting them does come with major consequences. Avoid it at all costs. Easier said than done.
Also spread throughout the levels are weapon upgrades, 6 in total. Once you get hit, you lose the upgrade. The machine and grenade guns can't reload. You lose those upgrades once you run out of bullets.
There's no item you can get to replenish your health. The only way to get life back is from points. Points can refill your life bar, or even give you extra lives.
lots of similarities.
Mine's better. Let's talk about the levels again.
Like we said, both games have 5 levels. On Sega, it plays like a typical game, one level after the next. On Super Nintendo, you have stage select. You can go to any stage at any time. This allows you to beat the game in any order. Start with the easy levels, start with the hard levels. It's your world.
That's nothing worth bragging about, but you know what is? Shooting range.
Both games have the shooting range. On Sega, it's like the arcade game. You encounter it after levels 1 and 3. However, on Super Nintendo, it's in the stage select screen. Here's why it's better on Sega. The shooting ranges are a great way to get more points. It's like a bonus. Great to help you refill your life bar or get extra lives. On Super Nintendo, the shooting ranges don't help at all. They don't contribute to your total score. It's just called training mode. Give me a shooting range that actually helps me get lives.
Alright, let's talk about 2-player.
Both games can be played in 1 or 2-player mode. You can select the game mode from the menu screen. However, if you start the Super Nintendo game in 1 player, a second player can join in at any time.
Player 2.
If you start the Sega game in 1 player, a second player cannot join in. You're stuck playing 1 player the whole time. Super Nintendo with the pop-in second player for the win.
Player 2.
You think your 2-player mode is better? Think again.
In 2-player mode, both games let you use 2 guns or 2 controllers. The Sega game goes one step further. You can have 2-player mode with 1 gun and 1 controller. On Super Nintendo, you can't. You must use 2 guns or 2 controllers. You cannot use 1 gun and 1 controller. If you only have 1 gun, then you're just gonna have to play the Super Nintendo game with 2 controllers instead.
That's it? I'd still rather have 2-player mode anytime.
You're just upset your 2-player's limited.
Okay, let's get into something that's missing from your game. Destructible objects.
The Super Nintendo game has a bunch of destructible objects. Camera. Random objects you can shoot for fun throughout each level. Alarm. And you're not just shooting things for fun. You're also earning extra points at the same time. Barrels. So many destructible objects. 2 minute and aim. Train station sign. But the most common object is glass.
Shoot the glass.
Every level has glass for you to shoot, and it all gives you extra points. It's also sometimes a shield. This is a sharp contrast to the Sega game. It has none of the destructible objects I listed. Not even glass. As far as I can tell, the only object you can shoot is these steam valves. You don't even get points for them on Sega. You get points for shooting them on Super Nintendo. No destructible objects on Sega? That's half the fun of these shooters. Sign above a restaurant.
That's not the worst part about the Sega game. The worst part is having to repeat levels.
The Sega game has standards. That might sound like a good thing, but it makes the game much more difficult. Let me explain. After you beat a level, you see your accuracy percentage, new ranking, and number of innocent people you shot. The way the Sega game works is your rank determines if you're good to move on to the next level. If it's not good, you have to repeat the entire level. The main factor on rank is accuracy, but it's not the only thing. To make this even more challenging, every innocent person you shoot knocks you down an entire rank. Shot 6 people, go down 6 ranks. That's not good because there's only 6 ranks total. Shooting 1 innocent person is enough to keep you from progressing to the next level. More than 1? Might as well just restart the game. Ultimately, what this means is that you need to be perfect to beat a Sega stage. This is also probably why there's no destructible objects in Sega. It'll ruin your accuracy percentage. And the Sega game can make you repeat a level multiple times until you run out of lives and get game over. The Super Nintendo game is much more forgiving. You're not forced to repeat levels. Accuracy percentage low, you can still climb a few ranks. Shoot a few innocents? That's okay. Whether you shot 1 or 10, it only knocks you down 1 rank. Just 1. The main consequence of shooting an innocent person on Super Nintendo is losing hit points from your life bar. A game that forces you to repeat levels, or a game that's one and done. Super Nintendo all the way.
And just one more thing.
Sometimes with light gun games, depending on your lighting or overall setup, the calibration might be off. If that happens on the Super Nintendo, simply pause the game. You can then readjust the aiming. Great for if a second player pops in. Can't do that on Sega. You can only adjust the aim at the main menu.
I guess it's close, but the Super Nintendo game just has more.
For having a level selection, 2 players at any time,
Player 2.
many destructible objects, adjustable aiming mid-game, and most importantly, not having a cheap standard for moving on to the next level, best gameplay goes to Super Nintendo.
Both games are similar, but one is better, and that's Lethal Enforcers for the Super Nintendo.
It has better graphics for more colors, being brighter, having more cars, explosions that make sense, shaking screens, and much more. It may be censored, but the presentation is still solid with the screen prompts missing from the Sega game and better HUD. It has a solid soundtrack with excellent voiceovers.
Unit 5, possible hijacking at Metro International Airport.
And it has better gameplay for having a level selection, 2 players at any time,
Player 2.
many destructible objects, adjustable aiming mid-game, and not having a cheap standard for moving on to the next level. The Sega game is fine, but being forced to repeat a level really brings down the fun. Instead of enjoying yourself, you really have to focus and you'll probably resort to this. This! The Super Nintendo game is much more forgiving and looks much better. You'll have more fun shooting everything there. And the censorship doesn't ruin the game. Being forced to repeat a level does that. Best Lethal Enforcers goes to Super Nintendo!
Alright, let's take out some clothes!
I even got us guns that look just like the Justifiers.
And they even have a black horde so we don't lose them. Incredible craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Nerds in town. No deodorant anywhere. Be cautious.
Better on Super Nintendo.
Blast processing!
Man,
Genesis! Games on Sega!
Mode 7.
I think we got them all here. Let's take it to the arcade. Genesis!
Mode 7. To a frozen dog.
Blast processing!
My teeth!
Oh no! Shut Joe from GameStack! What do I do?
I mean, we're only here to kill our clones, so I guess if you see him again, don't shoot him?
Okay.
Oh, not again!
Oh, jeez, I shot him again? Oh, people are not gonna be happy about that.
Oh, okay, you guys have to be doing this on purpose.
Okay, I'm starting to have fun shooting Joe. You okay, buddy? I'll be fine. Genesis!
Mode 7.
Blast processing! Games on Sega!
That smells like coyote urine.
Are we doing this?
Better on Super Nintendo. She touched my cat face teeth.
Well, I think that's it. We killed all the clones.
Want to go get a beer?
What about shots?
The clones have failed, sir. What do we do now?
What now? Looks like I'll have to take care of things myself. Excuse me.
Thanks for checking out our latest video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Support us on Patreon for early releases, behind-the-scenes videos, commentary tracks, bloopers, deleted scenes, and the Discord. If you want some Console Wars shirts, check out dknj.com. Check out our live channel, Console Wars Live. Special thanks to XaviorTheLycan for the donation of the games, and to Etoi Randolph for the donation of the guns. And be sure to follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Blue Sky for more Console Wars goodness. Later!
Some guns that look just like the Justifiers.
They even have a black cable so we don't lose them. Yeah. Incredible craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, our tips touched.